Okay, this is lesson 2.9, which is solving real-world equations. Um, so this is very difficult, just know that from the beginning, but we're going to work through it. So solving word problems. Write an equation to model the information given and then solve. So here's our situation. A railroad runs many trains and each has 8 cars. Each has 8 cars. I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to pause there. I'm going to add each train has 8 cars. Okay. If there are a total of 72 cars, how many trains are running? How many trains are running? So trains. That's what I'm solving for. So I just did 2 things that you should do as well, which is as I read, I annotated the equation. So this, I believe, is going to be my equation. Somehow I have to write an equation. The model is this. Then I also highlighted what I'm solving for, right? Like the actual question, which is how many trains are running. So I should get something like T equals something. So that kind of goes into this first box, which is ask yourself, what is happening here? So what is happening? I have trains, and each train has 8 cars. So if I had one train, there would be 8 cars. If there were 2 trains, then there would be 2 trains at 8 cars apiece, so 16 cars. If there were 3 trains, each train having 8 cars, so 8, 8, 8, 24 cars. So in general, I'm having like these trains, and depending on how many trains I have, that tells me like the total number of cars that there are. I'm just thinking. What are my variables? My variables are number of cars, and it's also the number of trains, because those are the 2 things that keep changing on me. What am I actually solving for? I highlighted that there, number of trains. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and define our variables. Since our variables were cars and trains, I'm going to let C equal the number of cars. And then T equal the number of trains. And my verbal model, this is where I'm going to kind of think back to the question and focus right here on this pink part, okay? The verbal model is each train has 8 cars. Each train has 8 cars. So one train has 8 cars. 2 trains has 16 cars. So I'm actually solving for the total number of cars. So total cars is 8 times the number of trains. Okay, so to write that, total cars is 8 times the number of trains. Going back to my equation, I see that there are a total of 72 cars. So I'm going to solve this equation at C equals 72. 72 equals 8t. Divide both sides by 8. 72 divided by 8 is 9. 9 equals t. What the heck does that mean? That means that there are 9 trains. There are 9 trains. It's very difficult, but we're going to do another example together. Okay? See if that helps. Okay, number 2. Let me zoom in. I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to highlight where I think the equation is, and then I'm going to highlight what I'm solving for. Okay. The tennis club charges $10 an hour for members and $20 an hour for guests. I think this is my equation. Okay. What is the hourly rate? I'm going to pause. What is the hourly rate That's what I'm solving for. If 4 members and 8 guests go. Okay, that's giving me some information. So I'm going to refer back to the thinking. What's actually happening here? What's happening? I'm paying $10 for each member and $20 for each guest. So $10 for a member, $20 for a guest. So if there's like one member, that'd be 1 times 10. If there were like 4 guests, this would be 4 times 20, and I'd add those together. That's what's happening. So what are my variables? My variables are members, so the number of members. And then I also have a number of guests. What am I actually solving for? It says, what is the hourly rate? What is hourly rate? Hourly rate is just referring to cost. How much is it going to cost to go? Since I don't have that here, I need to also define that. C equals total cost. Okay. What is my verbal model? Well, the cost is $10 per guest. No, $10 per member. Plus $20 per guest. Go ahead and write an equation. The equation would be cost is $10 per member times M plus $20 per guest times guest. Now I need something to substitute, so I go back. I see I have 4 members, 8 guests. So I'm going to solve this at M equals 4 and G equals 8. Substitute. Simplify. $200. Cost is $200. Interpret. It would cost $200 for the hourly rate. Wow. Let's try this one more time. Again, I'm going to highlight my equation, where I think my equation might be. A rental company charges $12 to rent a surfboard as well as $5 for each hour the board is used. $12 to rent a surfboard, $5 for each hour. What is the total cost? Total cost. So I know I'm doing C equals something. To rent the surfboard for 6 hours. 6 hours. H equals 6. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and let C equal the total cost. And I guess hours matter, so H equal number of hours that you rent. Go back and look. It says $12 to rent a surfboard, $5 for each hour. Okay. So the verbal model, well, let me go back and interpret this really quick. What is happening? I'm paying $12 to rent the surfboard. So no matter how long I rent it for, I'm paying $12. Then I'm being charged $5 for each hour. So it's like $5 for each hour that I rent. So 10 or 20 or 30. So that's hours. So the cost is $12 plus $5 per hour. All right, we got an equation right there. Cost is 12 plus 5 per hour. I'm going to solve this at, said H equals 6. So 12 plus 5 times 6. Simplify. So it costs $42 to rent for 6 hours. Awesome. I'm going to quickly work the next two because I feel it's necessary. Adam worked 11 more hours than Tom. Equation. If Tom worked 15 hours, how long did Adam work? So this is looking at how long did Adam work. That's going to be one of my variables. A equals number of hours Adam worked. And then I also see Tom worked 15 hours. So I'm guessing number of hours Tom worked. Our verbal model is actually right here. Adam worked 11 more hours than Tom. I can write an equation for that. Adam worked 11 more hours than Tom. That is my verbal model. And I'm going to solve that at t equals 15. So this is 15 plus 11, which is 26. Adam worked 26 hours. Very last one. Identify equation. $55 will be split evenly amongst the number of workers. That's my equation. There are 5 workers. How much will each worker get? Each worker. So we're talking money. How much money? Maybe money equals. Okay. I also know that there are 5 workers, so maybe workers equals 5. Define my variables. I have W is number of workers. And I have M equals money each gets. This actually is my verbal model. $55 will be split evenly. So $55 will be split, divide evenly amongst some workers. This tells me how much money each gets. I'm going to solve this at W equals 5. So each worker gets $11.